G'day, everybody. Welcome back to the Ball Logic NBA SuperCoach podcast. I'm your host, Brano, joined by 8th ranked Horse. Had a week off, mate, and it looks like it's done you some good with another crown.
I'm fresh. I'm fresh. But I know it was nice to have the week off last week. Yourself and Maddie had the keys to the car and drove it through the blizzard storm pretty nicely. We managed to avoid all shithouse weather there in the NBA this season. But I did say I'd give the bloke a shout out, Brano. So I'll do it nice and early because I know he's in the chat. Deadly, his SuperCoach Cup rank is number 1.
Hey, what a man. And that's why he's here, because he wants to know from the 8th ranked overall player how to win his cup game. From someone who got knocked out in like week 8. I can't help you, Deadly. But hopefully. What is it? How many players are left? Final 16?
16 left.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, we better give him some good advice then, hey?
Let's do it.
Let's hope anyway. Guys, make sure to give it a thumbs up if you're watching nice and early. We would appreciate that. It helps us get the show out to more people. Hit the subscribe button if you want to make sure that you don't miss any of the future shows. It is week 15's preview for NBA SuperCoach, so we've only got, 8 or 9 left?
9 weeks left, yep.
So, and mate, you're still well within the running of winning this thing. How far off top spot are you?
I'll check, but I believe it's about 28 points.
Ooh, 28.
Give or take a little bit. Yeah, so it's very tight at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. How good? Well, mate, I'm not in the running. I'm 288th, but at the same time, I think we've been cheering you on and living vicariously through your team for the last probably 2-3 months. So, yeah, fingers crossed you can keep the lead or get close to it, mate. How'd you go in week 14? Talk to me.
Not too bad. 1,094. So for the first time in a little while, I managed to edge you. You've been scoring really well of late, mate. But we speak about I got caught a little bit short this week with having – I wasn't so much out thinking the room, but I had the ability because of the cash we generated early on to hold on to Abdia on my bench and thinking that he may have been a bit of a pod play this week being on the 4. But with that back injury and the mental stuff that he's got going on, hopefully he's all good, but it didn't pan out as well as what we'd like. So he was the score that dropped out for me. But, yeah, 1,094. Captaincy was on Luka. Thank Christ, because he sort of saved me a little bit this round. But, yeah, looking forward to this round, mate. Hopefully only having 3 on the 3-game week.
Yeah, that's a good spot to be, especially coming into that big, important week 16 where we've got, a number of teams, I think it's more than half the teams on a 5-game week. So
That's right.
It's obviously over a fortnight period, which is how they're able to get away with this. So, like, it's not as high risk as another 5-game week, really. Like, we've had some teams have 5 games in 7 days. And, of course, that there comes rest risk with nearly anybody that goes through that kind of workload in such a short period of time. But over the next 2 weeks, we've got the All-Star break kind of mixed in there as well. So it's kind of like a little 3-week period there, that week 16. And, there isn't as much of a resting risk. It's just the trade deadline that's throwing things into chaos, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to chat a bit about that later on. But there's a few very relevant names that we'll discuss that could potentially be on the move. And therefore, it wrecks plans. So stay tuned for that later in the episode.
Paddy Reese in the chat as well. Nothing makes me feel safer than seeing Lloyd Pope inside the top 300. I still have hair, Pat, so let's settle down on that just a little bit.
Lloyd.
And understand the reference, though. I'm here for it. Well played. Guys, we're going to talk week 15. We'll go through who went hot from week 14 as well to keep an eye on coming into this next fortnight period. It's going to be a pretty crucial period coming into the next 2 weeks, as we'll be able to target a few of these teams that have that 4 into 5 little, 2-game or 2-week, I should say, slate. So the planning is key over the next fortnight, and then we're technically in the run home after those big 5-game weeks. So we'll talk about what that all looks like. We'll have a little chat about the trade deadline and where we think things are going to be going as well. So keep an eye out for that. And of course, we'll bring you trade targets and our most important captain's corner. Captain could be wide open this week. What do you do with Jokic? Do we buy him? Do we leave him till next week? There's going to be plenty of questions on that. So leave it with us. We'll be covering all of that. I got 1082. I went up 2 green arrows, 2 rank. So yeah, just treading water at the moment, which I'm pretty happy about. In the end, I think I only would have had about 3 or 4 players go over 100 this week. Had Amen Thompson, had Jamal Murray, had Shea, who went over 100, and had Luka captain. So at least I got that right. Bam Adebayo got 101, but then I had some shockers as well. I had Chet was average. JJ, I bought JJ back last week, and that really didn't work out. Jaylen Brown was poor and missed a game. So, and Vucevic was also poor and missed a game. So, not really much went right. So I'm pretty happy to still see 2 green arrows. I'll take that. Let's have a chat about who won the week, though, Horse. Who took it out?
It would be Tyrannosaurus Rex, Coach Kyle, who scored 1,146. He's into second overall.
Oof. Okay. All right. Well, and between you guys, 36 points. So, okay. We're working with not much, but I'm just looking at his team, Tyrannosaurus Tex, and it is, he obviously captained Luka last week. He had Kevin Durant, who missed a game. He had Wemby, who was also
Cade Cunningham.
Pretty quiet. He had Cade, who went big. So, I mean, look, when we're talking about the top scorer from last week, it's 1146, which really isn't that far off the mark from what we put up. So, yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it and we'll run. Mate, let's go and have a chat about last week, shall we?
Let's do it.
Maddie and I on the pod last week when you were off, mate, we said move heaven and earth to get Luka Doncic and make him your captain, and that was the one of the little amount of things we got right last week. Luka was elite. He might get the questionable tag every now and again, but I don't think it really matters too much because he just puts up those Jokic type numbers. I think he's the only guard that can get close to that.
100%. He's got the keys to the city there in LA. LeBron's just a mere side piece when we're talking Luka, and he is in some form at the moment. So even on a 3-game week, I think you've got to keep him. I don't think we trade him out. He can score as well as anyone on a 4.
And of course, we'll talk about the schedule a little bit later, but, Luka comes into a 5-game week again next week. So that's, the one thing that I think people will be looking at. It's, those 5-game weeks. Yes, you can attack the 4-gamers this week, but you want to make sure you set yourself up to have as many of these 5-gamers in week 16 as possible. So Luka definitely a good hold, as are a couple of these other guns as well. Paolo Banchero had a good game, a good week, I should say. 126 for him. Not happy about it.
Pablo, no. No, rocks or diamonds, this bloke, isn't he? No, not quite. He was Paul, and then he got to Pablo, and he'll become Polo when I bring him in and he scores well. But yeah, until then, I'm scarred.
Yeah, that's fair. Cade Cunningham, he got 125. And again, I did say Luka was the only man that could get close to Jokic, but Cade's got a ceiling on him too, doesn't he? Fills the box score, can contribute in nearly every area. And if he has a game where he's relatively efficient and doesn't turn the ball over heaps, he can put up 40 to 50 points.
100%.
Jalen Duren, his teammate, 119. So that's one of the random 4 to 6 week period, or once every 4 to 6 weeks, where Jalen Duren managed to do something. The week that I bought him, he did sweet FA. So I still haven't forgiven him for that. So 119 for him. Yeah. Talk. What about Jared Allen? 40 points, 19 rebounds. Was it 4 steals, 2 blocks? I think they said that there was only 4 other players that have ever put up that stat line. And when you're compared to guys like Kareem, Shaq, Joel Embiid, not a bad group to be a part of.
Well, Kareem, Wilt, Shaq, and Jared Allen. There you go. He's been over 30. This is the 6th time this year. And his previous high score was 36? And he scored 63 today. So I encourage those at home not to get sucked in here. This is a once-off.
0.3% owned. So it looks like so far people have taken that advice, which is good. People that, maybe are a little bit tempted by OG Anunoby, what's your message to them? 114 last week. Of course, he was good for the Knicks pretty much all week. Pretty solid contributor across the board there. But he has also had multiple games under 10 this season. So is he someone you're looking at?
I like him more than perhaps other players on the New York Knicks, but there's just a bit of uncertainty around the New York Knicks and what they're going to do around trade time. So we'll get into that a little bit later on. But yeah, more no than yes for me at the moment.
Dylan Brooks, 112. Shout out to Matrix, who was likely on the courtside watching that final game for Dylan Brooks. I think, I saw a photo Matrix sent to the group chat, and it had Dylan Brooks in the background signing autographs. So let's hope he's got a Dylan Brooks autograph to bring back. But 112 for him. I mean, Phoenix, I'm just staying away from Phoenix completely, to be honest.
100%. Yeah, not touching them.
Nah, especially with Devin Booker due to come back. He's day-to-day at the moment, so there's every chance he comes back.
Yeah, he should be back Tuesday, I think.
And then the final three top scorers, I guess, in the top 10 this last week is Brandon Miller, 111, Joel Embiid, 110, and Ayo Dosunmu, 109. These are names that I'm sure are going to be tempting, for the casual fan that might pop on and go, who scored well? Who am I going to buy this coming week? Joel Embiid's on a 4-game week into a 5-game week for Philly. But there is no 4-game week for the rest of the season that Philly don't have a back-to-back involved in it. So I'd say that obviously it's confirmed Embiid's not playing back-to-backs. So we can pretty much write that off as he will never play a 4-game week.
Yep.
So as sad as it is, because you know what? He's looking a little bit more like himself, isn't he? Like
he is.
From what you can see on the court, like eye test-wise, he's looking good.
He's dominating. He's been really good. But yeah, we can't trust those knees.
No, I don't think we can. Sadly.
Who would have ever thought, Braino, that Ayo Dosunmu would have been the top scorer for the Chicago Bulls this week?
Wild, isn't it? Wild. I mean, everyone's talking about Giddey. We're talking about Vooch. And to be fair, let's look at a 5-game week team, right? And their highest score all week was 109. Like that's piss poor.
That's less than a 22 average per game.
And we thought that Vooch would do that on his dick. He missed a game. Otherwise, maybe he would have gone close, I assume. But yeah, sadly, no luck. And Vooch had a pretty quiet final game of the week too, so that didn't help him either. He started red hot and faded off into the abyss when everyone needed him. So that was a shame. But yeah, Ayo Dosunmu, fair enough. Good play. Obviously, the Bulls come into another 5-game week after going into a 3-gamer this week. So maybe you can have a second crack at trying to pick the lucky dip that is the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll wait and see, won't we? Given that our trade deadline will be done by then as well, so we'll know with more certainty what's going on with their rotations.
Let's we'll chat about injuries, mate, and we'll throw in some deadline talk as well, hey?
Cool.
All right, so let's talk injuries to start things off. Kristaps Porzingis, he's going to be reevaluated in 1 week. For more so for relevance of Jalen Johnson, I think his rebounds probably stay up there. He is the guy there, no matter what. So I think we're pretty safe in that respect. But Porzingis been dealing with a Achilles injury. I'm assuming that there's also the POTS syndrome that he's been dealing with as well, and that kind of on and off illness in the background's been hampering him. So I'm actually surprised we're seeing him being reevaluated at all. I thought he'd be completely shut down.
I still think there's a chance that happens. When you're 7'3", your Achilles is probably like that long.
Yeah, about as long as my femur. Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, no SuperCoach relevance aside from him taking some boards and some big man type stats from JJ. So I think we're safe in that department for sure. Aaron Gordon, he's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks, which spells some relatively good news, I guess, for Jokic. We'll talk about Jokic because he's going to be a very, very big conversation point as to whether we buy him or not this week, horse. But Gordon out for 4 to 6 weeks, I guess, just gives a little bit more burn for a Peyton Watson. For the Nuggets, if you've still got him, I'd probably hold Watson due to that.
100%. But then Cameron Johnson is also due back, I believe, next game. So something to watch there as well.
Cam Johnson's been relatively average most of the year.
Hasn't he?
Yeah. Which is super disappointing because I drafted him in redraft this year and in 2 leagues. So, yeah.
But even, I guess, when we're looking at that, Peyton Watson was coming off the bench when Cam Johnson was starting. So it's definitely something to look at.
For sure. Kevin Durant would have frustrated owners last week due to the fact he's day-to-day. He's missed a game last week as well. Of course, he's had a pretty hectic workload, to be fair. I think we're probably going to see KD rest in random spots for the rest of the season, just knowing how jam-packed their back half is.
Yep. Yeah, there's only one bloke in the NBA that's got a worse hairline than me, and that's Kevin Durant. So, yeah, select him at your peril.
I thought you were going to say LeBron in that conversation as well.
Oh, no, KD's is worse. Oh, Jalen Suggs has nearly got him as well.
Oh, actually, that's fair. He's got the worst sub-25-year-old hairline.
Oh, it's terrible.
I can't really comment too much. I'm going a bit thin, but fuck, bloke. Got to feel
Jaylen Brown too. Sorry, Deadly, you're right. At least we don't draw ours on. Yeah,
that's true. I'm just gonna bald gracefully, I think, and just accept it. Ja Morant, he's probably another 3 weeks away at least. Can Spencer get some role? Honestly, would not surprise me at all if he gets traded. I don't think he does, but if he ends up being moved, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Hero, day-to-day. Anthony Edwards, day-to-day. Keontae George, day-to-day. Denny Avdia, day-to-day. This is just that silly season now, Horse, isn't it, where a lot of these guys are going to be, especially in tanking teams, of course, are going to be resting here and there randomly. They're going to miss games due to, mythical injuries that have been made up the day before. Yep. It's very hard to avoid all of them. But at the same time, I think as long as you're looking at the injury report and keeping an eye on RotoWire, for those of you that don't know, or if you're a subscriber of Ball Logic, you'll get it straight to your phone in the WhatsApp. Thanks to Kizza, doing a great job there.
He's doing God's work in there, yeah.
So keep an eye on RotoWire if you want to make sure you're up to date there with what's happening with the lineups each day. But pretty tough to navigate this time of the year, mate.
Yeah, it is, especially this week with the Minnesota Timberwolves being on a 4, one of the few teams that are on the 4-game week this week, and Anthony Edwards being questionable already for tomorrow's game. So definitely something to keep an eye out for there.
Julius Randle as well for anybody who was looking super pod.
Spicy,
but both of them are questionable coming into tomorrow.
Do you think, sorry, before we move on, Brano, so we've got Denny Avdia, congratulations, made the All-Star team. Keontae George, I spoke a couple of weeks back about fading these players that are on tanking teams.
Yep.
Has the time of the year come now where they're going to start implementing rest a lot more than what they previously would have a month, 6 weeks ago? And regardless of schedule, we probably should steer clear of them?
It's always around that All-Star break. It's, the trade deadline comes and goes. You get a look at kind of what's happening, but there's very obvious tanking teams that might still end up with assets they don't want past the deadline, which means that they just get sat. They're just done. Michael Porter Jr., God knows whether he's still going to be in Brooklyn or not come the deadline. Of course, a contending team would probably love to have Michael Porter Jr. It's more a matter of whether the Nets want to get off him and just lean into the tank and rebuild or not. But he might still be in Brooklyn, and then he just ends up sitting for the rest of the year. And that'll happen a lot. I feel like Keontae George is also one of those candidates where Utah are clearly tanking. Lauri Markkanen's played 1 in every 3 games due to conditioning. Apparently, I've never seen someone had to do so much conditioning coming off rest in my life.
I saw rest come up the other day, and I was thinking to myself, why do you need rest when you've done fuck all?
There you go. And Terminator in the chat just said KD's confirmed out against the Pacers. So, keep that in mind for your purchases or sells this week. Keep an eye on tanking teams. We'll have a chat very soon about that. Giannis, mate, do you reckon he gets dealt? Because there's trade rumors flying left, right, and center. The Bucks are open to taking calls on Giannis, and there's probably a couple of destinations being thrown around as favorites. One's the Golden State Warriors, and I think the other's the New York Knicks.
For someone that's, 30-odd years of age, 2 calves this year, Milwaukee are going nowhere, 3-8 without Giannis. Yeah, I think the time's come that he's got to move, and this is as good of a time for Milwaukee to get off him as there ever will be. So when you're looking at the Golden State Warriors, who are offering up young assets plus multiple first-round draft picks for years in advance, New York Knicks have plenty of assets. Miami Heat have been spoken about with Tyler Hero and Khalil Ware and these sorts of players with draft picks. There are plenty. Even Minnesota Timberwolves have entered the conversation for Giannis as well. That'd be scary with Giannis and Anthony Edwards going to work. So there are plenty of teams out there that could definitely utilize someone like Giannis. And I'll ask you, Brano, if he does get dealt, do you see Giannis coming back sooner rather than later?
Yeah. I mean, yes, I do. Yeah. I think Giannis obviously has gone and said, I'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks with this calf issue. And he was pretty spot on. I mean, look, 4 to 6 weeks lines up pretty nicely with the postseason. So, I reckon they'll do everything they can to get him back quick. If they're going to trade him to a contender, of course, you'd want him on the court. So, I think if he ends up going to the Golden State Warriors, I think they floated the idea of an injured Jimmy Butler, Jonathan Kuminga, who's also injured, 4 first-round draft picks as well. I guess they need to make a decision on whether they want those picks or whether they want the young assets in return, because I think Golden State probably have the picks to make the deal work. The other teams are going to probably have to look at a number of different assets to fill salary.
Yeah, I've seen other names like Pajemski and Moses Moody being thrown in there as well.
That's not getting the deal done though, is it? That's not a needle mover at all.
Not at all. But if you're looking at Moody, Pajemski, Kuminga, 4 first-round picks, that probably helps sets the team up. not just for the now. They can go and play Bajemski and Moody and see what they're going to be like within their system for the rest of this year. And then you've got the 2026, 28, 30, and is it a 32 as well, first round pick? There's something astronomical going on there.
I think when you get Giannis still at his age, he's still got many, many good years ahead of him. I think you're happy to just give up your future for half a decade minimum and just go, yep, we're going all in with Giannis here over the next 5-6 years in this championship window. So whoever gets him is going to be, in a pretty good spot. But let's see if he ends up moving on, because I know he is attached to the Milwaukee Bucks for some reason. He's a loyal man, doesn't want to leave. So Kevin Porter Jr., I don't think he gives a shit about Milwaukee. He won't be. I'd be surprised if we see him again this year, to be completely honest, especially with the shutdown imminent. These guys Milwaukee will tank this, I would assume. So, and Devin Booker's back soon. Not that we're looking at Phoenix players anyway, but I don't think it really matters too much, mate.
No.
Let's have a quick conversation around that tanking teams conversation, mate. Teams that are tanking. Talk to me. So for anybody who isn't following it close enough, teams with poor records, Utah, Washington, Brooklyn, Memphis.
Yeah, you could probably throw Portland in there as well.
Yep. So anyway, are you probably actively avoiding these teams now? Like even your Danny Avdias and guys like that, you reckon they get shut down, or you think they're still worth a purchase?
Well, let's go through the teams. So Utah, you got Keontae George and Lauri Markkanen, not touching either of them. Washington, Sarr really interests me, but you just don't know what they're going to do with their rotations, and has been playing well of late. Brooklyn, MPJ, he rests he's got a personal issue. There was a death in the family there, so that's reasonable for him to miss the last couple of games, but you don't know when he's going to play and when he's going to miss. Memphis, they've just had Ty Jerome come back. Santi Aldama's been out for a little bit. They've got Scottie Pippen Jr. and the likes who are still to come back, and who knows what they're going to do with their rotation. Portland, Drew Holiday, it's not that well known, but he stayed in New York. It's looking like he may get traded to the New York Knicks. So with him, and then you got Klingon, are they just playing him to get reps into him, or are they going to shut him down, or what's that going to look like? Denny Abdia with his back, is he going to get shut down? Yeah, there's plenty going on with these tanking teams.
It's brutal. It's a really tricky spot to be. But anyway, it's one of those things. I think we're just going to have to navigate the minefield that is trade deadline. This next week will be a bit of a tricky week to navigate. But then coming into week 16, you've got the All-Star break kind of in between that. So, we've got 2 weeks to get through. And then I think the run home will be a little bit clearer once we know who's doing what. Horse, let's have a chat about the week ahead and move into the weekly preview.
He's heating up.
Now, of course, the weekly preview, as it is every week, is brought to you by Ryan from Astute Newstead. For those of you looking to get into your first home, your second home, your third home, whatever it ends up being, maybe you just want to go and put an extension on your house. Maybe you want to go and do something a little bit different. You want to put a pool in. You want to put a basketball court in. Whatever it is you want to do, Ryan can help you do that. He can help you refinance and get yourself the best rate possible. Put money back in your pocket. He works with the 40 lenders on panel, including all of the major banks, to get you the best deal. So the link is in the description below to get in touch with Ryan. Just let him know that Ball Logic sent you, and you'll be well looked after. Now, what are you laughing about? I've missed the comments.
Oh, no, just deadly going. Cute little Mo, and we were just painting him out about his moustache earlier today, and my mum probably having a better moustache than him, although she's an Italian lady, so it sort of comes with the territory.
It's fair. That's fair. I won't make comments on your mum on a live podcast, mate. I'll leave that to
you.
Hi,
Mum.
Let's move into the schedule. Of course, you can see it on the screen there, guys. We've updated it, so it is week 15 onwards through to week 23. You can see the final 9 weeks there. Mate, it's the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're on the 2-game week this week.
Yeah, something that you want to try and avoid, especially with all those 3s and 4s that are going on. Your Donovan Mitchells, there's not really anyone else I'm going to trust there from Cleveland. You can always buy Don back next week if you need to. For those that have Jaylen Brown, you could nearly go sideways into Donovan Mitchell next week, so that could be your move. But I think it's pretty important, Braino, that we plan for week 16 and planning ahead. Like we know that it's big, but your 4-game weeks, we see that all bar Washington and Boston there, and Houston, because they're all on 4s, basically for the rest of the year, bar week 19, they go into 5s. So you've got to sort of look ahead and go, righto, if we can pick up someone from Indiana, the Siakam, Clippers, Leonard, these sorts of players, 9 games in. It's 2 weeks in NBA SuperCoach, but it's really 3 weeks with the All-Star break. We need to capitalise on the scheduling.
For sure. And you can see 16 teams in week 16, which is ironic, have the 5-game week. So that is essentially the planning point. And I guess it comes down to, you're going to have a lot of players on 3-game weeks potentially this week. But the good thing is most of the teams on 5s also have a 3 this week. So you're getting the 8 games over the 2 weeks anyway. I think you do honestly need to look at your availability of your players in blocks rather than just week to week. Most of us have used our boost by now. Maybe you've saved a boost for week 16, which I think is a really good tactic. If you have, well played. If you're like me and used all your boosts in the first, God knows, 4-6 weeks, then you're an idiot like me. So, but I guess there are some teams to target, mate. It's pretty clear. Of course, the teams on a 4-game week this week. We've got Boston. There are no 5s, by the way. We've got Boston, Houston, Indiana, the Clippers, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Timberwolves, the Knicks, the Philly 76ers, and the Washington Wizards. So you said you're avoiding tanking teams. Washington, probably a write-off then. Memphis, I wouldn't be going anywhere near them. And Boston coming into a 3-game week the week after. I don't know if there's any guys that I love as a 1-week play there to purchase. So I'll be focusing on the other teams that come into at least a 4-4 or a 4-5.
Definitely.
So do you want to have a chat about I guess the players to target from these teams? Let's start with Indiana because I think they're a pretty good target to start with. It's pretty much Siakam, 4 into 5. They're going to play 9 games over the next 2 weeks, which is the most in the comp. Is there anybody else?
My boy Nemad. No, there's no one else.
It's I mean, look, I love that you've been with him all season, but he hasn't been with you, Horse. So you're going to have to let that one sail.
Shit bloke.
Clips. James Harden's missing some time for personal stuff. He's rested games in the past as well, and he's kind of just dropped off the face of the earth, really, hasn't he, for the Clippers? So it's just Kawhi Leonard, really.
Yeah, it's disappointing because, this week being on a 4-game week would have been nice to bring him in, especially into a 5 next week with how we know he can score. But, his head's just not in it at the moment.
New York Knicks are an interesting one. They also have the 4-5. They've got 9 games over the next 2 weeks period in SuperCoach anyway.
Yeah.
So, and there's probably 3 or 4 options from the Knicks that have been just floating around relevance for a while. Mikal Bridges had a couple of good games last week. Josh Hart has been scoring points in the last couple of games. It's, who else have we got? OG Anunoby, of course, is going to be really popular. And, of course, then Cat. So who's your preference here? Of course, if money's no object, and you're obviously probably looking to target Cat at that price point.
Probably Cat. Yeah, he's dropped a little bit of cash lately, so looking to jump on that fallen primo. But I don't like targeting these teams, Brano, when you've got such a ISO-centric point guard in Jalen Brunson. It's the same with Cleveland. Like, you can pick Donovan Mitchell, but there's no one else that's going to benefit.
Yeah, I'm very hesitant to look at the Knicks at all, and I'm trying to kind of manipulate money and trades and work out how I want to do this because, of course, captaincy is going to be a pretty important decision to make this week as well. There are some obvious options, I guess, on the 4-game week this week, and then maybe some pods. But the Knicks don't really present to me any kind of genuine captaincy option this week either. So I'm looking to buy someone that I can get that 120, 130 from that I can captain. Which essentially is the Philadelphia 76ers, isn't it? Like, we've been talking about Tyrese Maxey. Thankfully, he didn't miss any games. He did play poorly, but he didn't miss any games. So, that is a bonus. The weather didn't get in the way, and of course, they're still competing. So, he is a standout option. If you're in the 3 or 4% that don't have Tyrese Maxey, you've probably got to get him from here, don't you?
Do you think? Oh, absolutely. Do you think after seeing last week, people are a bit hesitant on picking up Maxey or even holding on to him at the moment?
I think, maybe. I mean, look, at the end of the day, he's still averaging, I think, 32 points per game. Like, he's still a top 3 point guard behind Luka and Shea. Definitely. So I still think that if you can have all 3 of them, you're in a really good spot. So, and a genuine captaincy option that we'll talk about a little bit later as well. But for me, it's Philly, it's the Knicks. We didn't talk about the Timberwolves, but Anthony Edwards is the only guy. Well, actually, there might be another guy that comes off the bench for them, Horse, that's been doing a killer job over the last couple of weeks.
Naz Reid.
He's been
He's
good.
been good.
He
Really good.
really surprised me last week. 112, I think he ended up on. So,
Mhm.
it's again, no Ant means more usage. So I think we just need to probably temper our expectations somewhat. When Ant comes back in, usage goes through the roof for him and it goes down for everybody else around him. So, just keep that in mind there if he does come back fit and healthy. And there is no 5-game week next week. So, worth keeping an eye on that as well. But that's pretty much the schedule. Of course, you're probably not going to have a full team of 4s this week, and I would urge you to not chase too many of them, because I think what you're going to do then is handcuff yourself, sadly, to minimal 5-game week players next week, horse. And then we've got, we didn't even talk about the players that you essentially should be holding on that 3-gamer this week, because they come into 5-gamers the week after. We probably should bring it back up on the screen.
Yeah.
Jalen Johnson goes
Definitely.
3-5. Hold him. Who else have we got, mate? Who else are you holding?
Jamal Murray.
Yep.
Let's go through the list.
Of course, all you Houston guys, you've got to hold them moving forward.
Have to hold them.
Luka?
Clippers, Doncic, yes. No one from Milwaukee.
If you got
Shea?
Bam Adebayo, are you tempted to hold 3-4?
So
Or do
with
you think
the
he's
way,
sell?
the way that my team's set up at the moment, I'll have him sitting on the bench this week.
Yep.
Shea, Gilgeous-Alexander, definitely a hold. If you've got Paul still, the way that he's been scoring, could come up clutch next week. No one really from Phoenix. I'm not interested in Dylan Brooks.
Chet probably
maybe?
fits into that. Yeah, you can probably, if you want to use his cash, I wouldn't blame you getting off Chet. Like he's been, and Isaiah Hartenstein played today, so I guess you're probably going to see a little bit more of him and a little bit less of Chet at the 5. So, worth thinking of as well.
Definitely. And then that's probably about it, mate.
Denny Avdia, you probably have to hold him. Do you reckon?
Oh, I'd sell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have held him right through the 2-game week, the 3-game week, and then the back injury, and then the issues with Palestine back home and his mental health not being quite right. Yeah, I think he's a sell still. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got people asking in the chat, KD's out. What are we doing with him? Are we holding? Are we selling? What's your advice to them?
I'd probably hold for the simple fact that look at that schedule. There's 1 3-game week left for the rest of the year. There's been no injury as far as I'm aware that's been reported. It's purely going to be a rest game because he is old as balls and they've got a very heavy schedule. So, yeah, for me, it's a hold. It's a smart hold.
Yeah, I think I would hold as well, because I think he's one of those guys that as soon as he comes back in, he goes back to scoring 30s, and we've seen what he's done over the last probably 6-week period. So he's been their best on court. Sengun's been a little bit inconsistent at times. Amen Thompson, of course, isn't a high scorer, like actually scoring the basketball. So you're relying on peripheral stats for Amen Thompson, which isn't ideal in the SuperCoach world. So
that's right.
There's just a lot of question marks around the whole Houston lineup, and the one solid option is KD. So I'd tend to hold. Mate, let's move into trade targets for week 15.
Targets acquired.
Let's go through the top 10 most bought and sold players. Now, here's the conversation to have, and I'm sure people have been waiting 33.59 for this conversation. Jokic, buy or wait?
Buy.
Plead your case, because I've seen a lot of people in the chat say, nah, getting him next week.
Yeah, that's fair. But, I mean, we've seen this guy play 3 games and score like someone on 4 or even 5. He's the best SuperCoach player in the game. The offense revolves around him. Yes, it was a quieter game today, but it was against OKC. They're the best defensive team in the comp. So, like, if you're fading, I feel like you're a week behind.
So with 170, I can understand the weight. 170 break even. I think he still scores 120 on a 3, which is, that's his average. So if you can get 120 to 130 from Jokic, I think that's a really good purchase regardless. I think if he gets 120, buyers win and people that wait also technically win, because you get him a little bit cheaper. You're going to obviously buy him next week. And if you're really tight on cash this week, it allows you to get a Sengun or another really top tier option and then just target him next week in week 16 when you know you're actually going to need him. The one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about, actually, there's 2 sides to the coin here on this one.
Okay. Yep.
You either believe that Jokic is 1 game, if he sits 1 more game, he is out of contention. He can only afford to sit 1 more game, otherwise he's out of contention for all of the end of season awards.
That's
so
right.
Do you think, based on that, he plays the back-to-back this week? Because even though Denver are on a 3-game week this week, he still has a back-to-back.
I still think he does. Yes.
Okay. I don't know whether I can be 100% confident and say I know he'll play. Because I don't know whether awards really matter to him. I don't think he gives a shit, to be completely honest.
He doesn't. No,
he
right.
doesn't. He doesn't. Yeah. And again, what's more important? Jokic winning MVP, or potentially even Jokic pushing himself too much and ended up fucking ruining their whole season by being out injured again, or the MVP award. I think that Denver are smart enough as an organization to prioritize the season itself rather than just an award at the end of the year for one player. So I am cautious. That back-to-back really scares me. And that's why I don't blame anybody. Like, if you knew that he was going to play all three and you were 100% confident he was, you buy him. Because he'll score what everyone does on a 4, you're right. But I think there is an element of doubt there that potentially he could sit that back-to-back. Just, it's so early on in the piece with his recovery too. He's only just come back. He's only played 2 games. So I don't know whether it's worth. And then he has a nice little break over that All-Star break as well. Hopefully, I don't know, if it were me and I was Denver, I'd be pretty cautious over the next 3 to 4 weeks with Jokic, knowing that I'm going to get a little bit less basketball out of him.
Yeah.
So it's tough. I'm not confident either way. Honestly, I'm not.
Yeah. Well, let me put this to you. If you don't get him this week and you're out of boosts, like many of us are, there's only so many players that you can target next week for that 5-game week as well.
That's right. There is. I mean, Jokic is the obvious 5-game week target. Captain, lock him away. Completely fine. So I guess if you want to lock him up and you got the cash now, just grab him. I think if you can reach him now and it doesn't hinder the rest of your options, I think he's a pretty easy purchase. If you're stretching cash and getting suboptimal options, and I'm in this case where I need to downgrade Keontae George, he's been sitting on my bench, I need to downgrade him to a bottom dollar guy, and then I can get Vucevic up to Jokic if I wanted to in 2 trades. But what it does then is it limits me to my third option, where I have to look at one of these Knicks guys that I don't really want. So that's my question mark, is do I sacrifice Jokic for a week and then just make sure I bank the cash for him next week? It's a tough decision, but it's going to split the community. At the moment, 17.8% of the top 1% are buying him. So there's a lot more faders than buyers right at this point in time.
I will be one of those top 1% that purchase him.
Yeah. I think you can captain him this week, potentially too, if you think he's going to play all the games. So let's see.
Spicy.
Let's see how we go. Anyway, we've talked a lot about Jokic, and for some reason, my SuperCoach app just shit itself. And
I've just had an update on my end, so we can quickly do a little dive.
I'm back now. We're good. 20% have got him now.
We've got the winner of the week in the chat. So Danzy did score the top score. There's a lot of scores in and around the same, but there's him and there's one other guy, James, who scored 1,158 this week.
Nice. Congratulations. Well done. Whoever reaches us first, gets to us first in socials, get in our DMs, and if you get to us first, we'll get your prize to you, mate. So congrats.
Definitely.
Good job. Siakam, second most purchased. Pretty close to Jokic, to be completely honest. They go 4 into 5. So what are your thoughts on him?
I like him. Yeah. But again, they're one of those teams that don't really care about winning, so it's buy with caution.
Yeah, I think this little 2-week period in SuperCoach is probably, as sure as you're going to get for Indiana, but after that, anything goes. So
anything goes. Yep.
Karl Anthony Towns, of course, is the third most purchased. We've given our thoughts on Cat. I think he's fine. I'd probably prioritize a Sengun over him.
Oh, given the run, absolutely.
Sengun's the 5th most purchased, so I'd probably prioritize Sengun over Karl Anthony Towns long term. But he was big in the last couple of games. I think he had a 20 rebound game, didn't he, recently? And he had a big one last game out. So I don't blame people. The Knicks matchups this week are also okay. They got Washington, Denver, Detroit, Boston. So middle of the road type matchups.
Yep.
Who we got next? Kawhi. I think we mentioned him as probably the only Clipper option, really.
Yeah, I don't mind it. When he's up and going, he's awesome to watch.
Just coming back from injury, maybe there'll be a little bit more cautious. That's probably my only concern. He's been in and out of the team a little bit over the last 2 weeks, so
Yeah.
proceed with caution on him. Again, we're probably going to echo that for most of the players and most of the options for the rest of the year, sadly. This injury clouds, day-to-days, questionables are going to be around forever for the rest of the season now. So you just got to hopefully find a bit of luck. And
That's right.
That's
what it's going to take. Yeah.
Amen Thompson seems to be pretty solid at the moment. He's not resting any games, which is nice. So people are 12.4% are getting him, and 66% of the top 1% now have him in their team, and I think I can understand exactly why.
Definitely.
OG Anunoby, 7th, and he is the second Nick purchase behind Karl Anthony Towns.
Okay.
Is it a case of chasing last week's points, do you think?
A little bit, yeah. Yep.
Anthony Edwards, I don't know whether I'd feel comfortable buying Ant.
That would make me sleep very roughly.
I already sleep poor. I've got 2 young kids. I can imagine that that Anthony Edwards would make me sleep worse than both of my kids waking me up at 1 o'clock in the morning. So, not here for that. Joel Embiid, people are falling into the trap of Joel Embiid on a 4-game week when he will never play 4 games in a week due to these back-to-backs for Philly. So, I'm happily fading him too.
Yeah, I don't see a world where he plays back-to-backs at all.
No. And James Harden. I mean, I'm intrigued by James Harden. I feel like his price has come back a little bit now. So maybe there is a tiny bit of value there for Harden. They go 4 into 5. So it's 4-5-2 though. So you're going to have the next 2 weeks and then you've got to jump straight off. Do you like it? Matchups this week are Philly, Cleveland, Kings, and Minnesota.
It's barbecue chicken.
Yeah, it just depends on what kind of motivated James. Is it fat suit James Harden? Or is
it Houston Rockets celebrating after the game, James Harden?
Yeah. Oh, God, let's find out. Hopefully we see him with some chicken wings in Houston somewhere.
Delicious.
Yeah, we'll be here for that. All right, let's have a chat about the most sold players. Nikola Vucevic, people are pissed off because he didn't do what we were hoping he was going to do, which is a shame.
Understandable.
For him. Yep, but most people are getting off him and probably using him to get to Jokic, considering he's centre only. And I think that's probably the one thing is that you're going to kind of pigeonhole yourself a little bit, trying to get Jokic in, and you're only going to have minimal options to make that happen, considering you've only got flex and centre. So,
unfortunately so, yeah.
Yeah, and so anybody who has Luka in their team at flex and has Shea and Tyrese Maxey, you've only really got one position to get Jokic in, and sadly it's probably Vucevic in most teams.
Yes.
Talk to me about Bam Adebayo. You're happy to get off Bam now?
Yes and no. I think he's worth a hold. If you can manage to bench him this week, I think coming into next week where he's got the 4, if you can't field a full team of 5s, he is the next best option.
Keontae George, 3rd most sold, completely fine with that. Not an issue.
Absolutely.
Utah will pretty much shut him down pretty soon. I think I'd be very surprised if I see him playing at all in the next 4 weeks. Kevin Durant, of course, people are getting the itchy trigger finger on Kevin Durant, knowing that he's already been ruled out for tomorrow. So I get it. He's only going to play 3 games this week, but just remember the rest of the year is still relevant, especially if you have no boost. You can only make 3 trades a week, and I think KD is going to be a hold for the rest of the week.
Yep.
Donovan Mitchell on the 2-gamer, completely fine. Evan Mobley on a 2-gamer, completely fine. Scotty Barnes.
And injured, yep.
And injured. Scotty Barnes is the seventh most traded out player. You all right with that?
Yes.
Giddey, Jamal Murray, Colin Murray-Boyles. I think the only hold there out of those 3 would be Jamal Murray.
Corin, yeah.
What have I missed?
No, I got tongue-tied the other week and called Colin Corin.
Oh, you did too, actually. Yeah, good shout.
Yeah.
That's good. I wiped that from my memory. I appreciate you bringing that back up where you burned yourself. Self-burn. Those are rare.
Yeah, there it is.
Very good. Very good. But yeah, look, and I guess maybe a conversation around Wemby needs to happen because, he's the 11th most sold player. Still owned by 32% of the top 1% of teams. So, of course, he didn't exactly score amazingly this week, coming into a 3-gamer again, into then a 4. So he doesn't even have that 5-game week.
No.
You're selling?
Yes.
Just use the cash to get to Jokic, I think, at this point.
Yep.
That's trade targets, guys. Let's have a very interesting chat around Captain's Corner.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I think it's wide open this week. I mean, how comfortable do you feel captaining Jokic on a 3-game week this week?
I think this week is as wide open as we've had any week this year in SuperCoach for captaincy.
Especially when you've only got a minimal amount of 4-game week options. There's
Mhm.
not a lot of 4-game week players. And also the 4-game week options this week really aren't the top dog, big dog guys. It's, probably Tyrese Maxey is at the top of the list if you're looking for a 4-game week player potentially.
Yep.
Him or Sengun.
Sengun, yeah. They're probably the two, yeah.
What are their matchups like? I guess this is a question. I mean, let's look at Sengun. He's got
let's get into
Indiana, Boston, Charlotte. OKC is a tough one. It's tough against anyone, but those first three games are amazing for Sengun and the Houston Rockets.
Mm-hmm. Absolute barbecue chicken alert.
I think it's Boston concede the most rebounds to centers this year by a fair margin.
Margin, yeah.
So I'm fine with. I think Sengun could be the standout captaincy option this week. But Tyrese Maxey is a close second. I think maybe people will be scared off the back of his poor game last week where he scored 4 or 6, I think it was, from memory to start the week, and everyone was calling for his head. People were calling for his head, and then he obviously ended up still scoring relatively well to finish the week and reminded us that he does average 32 for a reason. So I still think that he's not a bad shout. What are the matchups looking like for him?
He's got the Clippers.
Yep.
He's got the Clippers, Golden State, Lakers, and Phoenix. So 3 of those 4 are barbecue chicken.
They're nice. Okay. Yeah, I like that. So we're looking at Sengun and Maxey topping the list at the moment. Jokic's matchup. So he does have that back-to-back. If you believe that there is a chance that Jokic maybe doesn't play the back-to-back, I think 1, you're probably not buying him anyway. But 2, you're definitely not captaining him if you believe that.
No.
So that's happy to write off. Kawhi Leonard. What are your thoughts on Kawhi Leonard as a captaincy option this week?
Not confident.
I don't think it can be. I think it's nearly impossible to think he's going to play all 4 coming off the back of an injury too. They've got Philly, game 1, Cleveland, Sacramento, Minnesota. So some really nice matchups there.
Yeah, Chris Gray does bring up a good point there in the chat about having no PG there for the next 25 games. So usage is going to be up for Kawhi as well.
Good shout. Very good shout. No PG should be up. Usage should be up for. Are we talking about? No, we're talking about Maxey, aren't we?
Oh, Maxey, sorry.
Yeah. So and that's maybe even more reason to look at Maxey this week. I think he will be probably one of the more popular options. Him and Sengun are probably leading. Can you go with Cat?
He's too sassy for me.
Yeah, it's a bit too much purr for you. You reckon?
Yeah, too much. Way too much.
They've got Washington, Denver, Detroit, and Boston. It's not amazing. The first game will be nice, but the rest of them are pretty ordinary.
Yeah, no.
Anybody else standing out? Pod captains, mate?
Not really. No.
It's a tricky week, isn't it? Like when you go back to if we bring the schedule back up on the screen very quickly, you can see the teams on 4s. Boston, there's no standout captaincy option. Houston, of course, it's Sengun. Indiana, I don't feel comfortable captaining Siakam. Clippers, Kawhi. Memphis, God, no. Minnesota, no. Knicks, Cat. And then it's Philly, really. And there's no way in hell I'm even buying a Washington Wizard, let alone captaining one. So
would you captain Doncic on a 3?
You could. Well, Austin Reeves is still out. So as long as Austin Reeves stays out, I mean, I don't think it really matters too much, but you probably could captain Luka on a 3. I guess then the question becomes, like, if you think Luka's going to play 3 and Jokic is going to play 3, who's the better option out of those 2 guys?
Out of who, sorry? I just went blank.
Luka and Jokic.
I think trust-wise, I'd go Luka.
So Luka has Nets, Philly, Golden State.
Oof. Could go monstrous in 2 of those games.
He could honestly sit a half and still score 50 against the Nets.
Yep.
Yeah, it's tough. It's very tough. I'm interested to see what happens from it. Of course, it's one of those weeks where anything can happen, and I think you're right. I think this could be the most wide open week we've had so far before a very, very important, probably the most important week of the year in week 16. Definitely. So, guys, make sure to, I guess if you've taken anything from today, make sure to, keep next week in mind too. I think we spoke before we came on air earlier today when we were trying to work out our own trades and saying that this week could just be a holding week. and then make your move next week. And I think that's probably the strategy a lot of people in the top 1% are going to be rolling with, is just get through this week. And hopefully you don't see too many red arrows, and then you just go hard at the 5 gamers next week.
Yeah, definitely. Or you're trading towards maximising your 5-game players next week. But also, I've just been prompted by the sir in the chat. Happy anniversary to those that celebrate the Luka Doncic trade to the Lakers.
Oh, rough.
Terrible. Worst trade in history.
Yeah, it's up there. It's up there. I thought the sir was going to start taking the piss out of me as an Atlanta Hawks fan with the anniversary of the Luka and Trae Young trade at the draft, because that still haunts me at night.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had him. We had Luka.
For a little while.
Traded him for Trae Young.
Yeah.
And now Trae Young has turned into CJ fucking McCollum.
Oh,
So
no.
stoked about that. Yeah. It's been a good time being an Atlanta Hawks supporter. But you know what? It's time for JJ. He's ready, the All-Star JJ. So yeah, let's see what he can do.
Let's go.
Guys, that'll do us. That'll wrap us up. Good luck ahead of week 15. Tricky week. Hopefully you've taken something from tonight, but it is wide open. If anything, make sure to tread some water this week so you can come into next week in week 16 hitting guns blazing. Trade deadlines coming up as well, guys. If you want to make sure that you stay on top of all of the injury news, all of the trade news, and all of the implications that can come from that, you can join the Patreon. The link is in the description below. Kizza does a killer job in the WhatsApp, keeping us up to date on everything that's happening over there. So make sure to join in. But otherwise, guys, good luck ahead of week 15. Hopefully you can find some green arrows, and we'll see you for the week 16 preview next week. Catch you then.
Peace.